Stream on. Stream on. Stream on. All right, let's go live here too. I'm here, man. Let me just do my checks, cause you know your boy. Gotta make sure I got everything in this bitch properly. How y'all doing? I'm back again. It doesn't show me live. Could be a delay. Says stop streaming. I should be live. Where am I at? I'm there. Okay, I'm live. Let me just make sure I hear me. How y'all doing? Okay, audio. I'm back again. It doesn't show me live. Seems to be decent. Check 1 2. Check check. 1 2. Check check check. Okay. Just do my little checks real quick. Let me just make sure I hear me. Yeah, okay. Audio. Back again. All right. Seems to be decent. Check 1 2. Check. 1 2. Check. Okay. Just want to make sure that the audio is good because I recorded a couple of these without actually being heard that well. So let me scoot this over for my TikTok folks so they can get in here. You know your boy simulcast, okay? So yeah, we here, man. Let me see if I can scoot this over up. I don't want to do that. I'm gonna have to eventually move that, but whatever. Okay, stretching my cords to the max right now, but we're here, okay? We have a couple of things we're going to go over today, okay? As you can see in the topic, we're going to talk about a version of the real story of Christopher Columbus. Now, why do I call it a version of the Christopher Columbus story? It's because the book that we're going to be getting the information from is from 1551. Now, I call that a version because the real version will be Christopher Columbus's manuscripts, his actual writings. And I think I found some of those, and I will be translating those as well. But for this particular situation, I'm going to be translating a book from 1551 in the Library of Congress, okay? So a thing to think about here is this book is about 52 years from 1490, well, 1492. If it's 1551, that's 60 years, 59 years away from the date from his first voyages. Now, he took multiple voyages, 4, I believe, in total. And we're going to dive in to some of the things he talks about. And they talk about reading from his particular writings or wherever they got them. Now, this particular book is, let me show y'all the actual first page of the book real quick. But this book is from, let me switch it over here for you. This book here is from Library of Congress, so my people over there can see it. Is from 1551. And let me go to the first page. I don't know why it's not letting me scroll up down here. Oh, okay. Let's do gallery. So I want to show y'all the title page of the book. Here we go. So these are the title pages of the book. Now the whole book is in Paleo Spanish, okay? But this is the title page of the book. Now before today's time, you wouldn't be able to translate a book like this without paying somebody. It's already hard to find somebody. It ain't hard to find somebody to speak Spanish, but it is kind of hard to find somebody that will read Paleo Spanish, Old Spanish documents. It's not that you really can't read it. If you actually speak Spanish, you should be able to get through it. As you can see, like here, to something general de las Indias, canto do el some cumplimiento y cosas nota. So it's just about knowing that F looking, I can't zoom in no further, but it's just about knowing that this F in cosa is really a S and certain things like that. So it's not hard. If you can read Spanish, you can really read it. I don't really read Spanish. I mean, I can read it, as you can see. I can read a little bit of it. But we're going to actually get our buddy ChatGPT to do the work for us. Let me get this off the screen. I was trying to go to the next page so you can see the other title page, and it's bullshitting me right now. Okay, finally got that off the screen. And so when you go here, you're going to see even more from the title page, okay? And we're talking about the Indies, okay? And even you can really kind of tell what is the reason why I decided to do this book is because I can actually tell what this page says. Like you can see here, it says Primera y Segunda parte de la Historia General de las Indias con todo de descubrimiento. So it's like descubrimiento, the description of the Indies. I don't know what the coast. Oh, maybe the coast. Costas maybe coast, and the coast notable hacienda, whatever. But then I noticed the conquista, the conquest de Mexico y de la Nueva España. Okay, so what we get is what we're seeing is the conquest of Mexico and New Spain. Now, for those who don't know what New Spain is, let's just pull up a New Spain map from when there was a New Spain and to see what is the importance of why am I even thinking about doing this book. Well, this whole yellow part at some point was New Spain, okay? Let me put my hands in there for my TikTok folks. What's up, TikTok folks? So this whole area there was New Spain. Okay, so that means that they're talking somewhat about this area because they said and Mexico. So they're talking about in this book, New Spain, which is the Americas, and Mexico, right? So I knew I had to dive deep on this before my people in TikTok land, I could point it out. New Spain, all up in there, Mexico, as we know it today, right? So this is what the book is talking about. So we're going to get over to the book, and I wanted to show you the book, but I already got excerpts from the book that have been translated with ChatGPT. So such as this, like I take things like this and I use my guy ChatGPT and I screenshot what it says, right? So we're going to go through some notable things here about, as you can see, the first discovery of the Indies. Now, you know, when I saw that, I was like, oh, I like this translation. The first discovery of the Indies. Let's see what they talk about, right? Okay. We're going to read through this, most of it, if not all of it. It says, while sailing a caravel through our seas, put it down here so y'all can see it. While sailing a caravel through our seas, such a strong east wind arose that it continued until it drove the vessel to land, not marked on any map nor drawn on any chart. Doesn't mean it didn't exist. It says they wandered for many days as the winds carried them when they finally reached the shore. Notice they didn't say who yet. Notice they didn't say a name yet. It says the pilot found no remedy, nor did the 3 or 4 sailors who accompanied him, only about 4 or 5 people, right? Weak from hunger and hardship until they unalived shortly after arriving at the port. Thus, by chance, the Indies were discovered. By chance, right? And they're calling it the Indies. But notice they're calling it the Indies without Christopher Columbus. Now, they'll get to the Christopher Columbus story, okay? But notice that's what they're calling it. And it says, by misfortune of one who first saw them, since he was not able to enjoy them, and so that no memory would be lost of how he was called and where he was from, or in what year he found them, it was well to say that it was not by his fault, but by the misfortune of others, or blinded faith, or fate, or fortune, as some call it. It says, am I not surprised at the old histories that tell of great events being accomplished by the smallest and most obscure of means, since it often happens that in a short time something so marvelous is found? It says, it remains for us that the name of the pilot, or the person who was the navigator, the captain of the ship, for all of this matter depends on his testimony. They say in Andalusia that the pilot who lived in Cadiz and on the coast was the one whom was long and fateful voyage occurred. Okay. Others claim he was a Biscayan contracted in England and France, and still others say he was Portuguese and that he came from Madeira in India. It says, this is why there is so much confusion regarding as many opinions about it. So what they're saying basically here is that the Indies was discovered by somebody prior to Christopher Columbus, and we do not have his name. Okay? So that's the main thing to take away from this particular situation. They're admitting that somebody else had been over there. Now, how many books have you seen that said somebody else had been over there? Now, I just realized and remember that I knew that Christopher Columbus was said in one book to have Tuscanelli's map. And when I looked up Tuscanelli's map, I think I found it at some point. I was about to try to search for it, but I don't even want to get off course because I didn't save it in my little saves for, receipts and stuff like that. So let me see who's all over here in the TikTok world. See who's all rocking with your boy. What's happening with y'all, Midwest girl? What's up, Belinda girl? How you doing? Appreciate you coming in. A-Dub, what's happening? Eclipse, Vanessa, Jennifer Green, appreciate y'all coming in. All right. So we're going to continue the conversation, though. Okay. So we have here admittance that somebody had went to the Indies prior to Christopher Columbus. So let's go on to another page. So as you can see here, we have another page of a document that we're not going to be able, that we're going to have to translate. And as you can see here, there's a title in there. It says De las Indias, okay? Something, something, prom, something, De las Indias, okay? So we know we're still talking about it. Oh, let me go. Is it this way? This way? Okay. Who was Christopher Columbus? Who was Christopher Columbus? Now, I'm not going to read through this page. Anybody want to take a screenshot, you can snap it. But it basically talks about he descended from a certain family, went to certain blood of it. He used to be a cartographer. I think it says it, where did it say that? He studied to be a cartographer somewhere. It said at a young age, blah, blah, blah. He spent much of time in Syria. Okay, yeah, right here. He was skilled in making navigational charts. Okay, so he had some kind of backing before going into this, which makes sense. I mean, you don't just kind of jump into being a damn voyager and sailing the ship across the seas. But this goes into telling a little bit of the story about him as far as what his actual experience may be, because people say he got lost. And that's why he called it India. He was going to India and he got lost, and that's why he called it the Indies. But that's why this is kind of important. It's kind of helped building the story of he had a backing of navigation, of trying to figure out where he's going and where to go and whatever the case may be. So let's look at another page of the good old Spanish book, right? Now this says what Christopher Columbus endured toward the Indies. Okay, let me see if this is one that I really wanted to read here. See, this is about him trying to get support So I'm not going to read through this. If you want to screenshot it and read through it, you're more than welcome. But this is about him trying to get support for his endeavors to go to the Indies. Not that important. Now here, this is where it starts to get important. Let me make sure I didn't miss anything. Seeing the King of Portugal, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, okay. So now here it starts to talk and get kind of good. We got it talking about the Carthaginian merchants. It says, hey, the Carthaginian merchants, let me just highlight which one I'm going through right here, this top one. The Carthaginian merchants selling from the Straits of Gibraltar toward the west after many days found a large uninhabited island. They describe it as fertile with navigable rivers, and I have cited some of the authors who mention it above. Now, he said he cited some people above. I feel like I need to go back through. Let me see what kind of page. I guess I can't see it. I feel like I didn't see who he mentioned, but let's keep going. It says, so some merchants landed on a fertile land, okay? And it says, this was not Christopher Columbus. Those merchants were not Christopher Columbus. It said, but he was well aware of it. Okay? What is that saying? It's saying that the Carthaginians, besides the other person who already been over there to the Indies, the Carthaginians also been to the Indies, and Christopher Columbus knew that these niggas went to the Indies. Okay? That's the take to take away from that. Okay? So let's go even further. It says, and he also had news, okay, of the new lands through the account of the unalived pilot. It says he consulted with learned men about what the ancients had written regarding other lands and worlds. So he knew about the unalived pilot who had been credited as one of the first people to rediscover the Indies, even though it was there and people were there, right? On top of that, the Carthaginians had been there, and he knew about them going there too. And on top of that, he consulted with learned men about what the ancients wrote about it as well. So he's going around trying to figure out, where is this place called the Indies in the Western Hemisphere? I'm establishing that so you can understand that he knew exactly where the fuck he was going. He wasn't lost going to no damn India. Are y'all crazy? Regardless of the whole, it wasn't called India until later shit. Because I will show it. It has been referenced as India in certain books, in certain older books, but I found out why, and we'll get to that. I'll tell you why it was called. I'll show you, not tell you. I'm always show you. I will show you why they call it the Indies through this book from 1551. So you ain't got to believe me, believe the goddamn book. I got to unbutton another button. I'm sorry, this thing. Earlier your boy buttoned it all the way up to here, and I was like, you know what? Let me see if your boy can just, get extra formals for the folks. I'm about to mess up my damn microphone. And I was cutting off my circulation, and it was just all the way up to here. And I sat there and I was like, who wears they shirts like this, man? I just can't button up all the buttons on my shirt. In fact, I need a few of my buttons. Okay, off of that. Okay, so he knew where he was going. He knew what he was looking for, and it wasn't that place. Okay, but let's keep going. It doesn't stop there. Let's keep going. Let me flip it over here. The one with whom he often spoke of was The one with whom he most often spoke of this was a friar, Juan Perez de Mahachino, whatever, who lived in a monastery of La Ribida, whatever, right? It says hold up, where'd it go? There, he strengthened his conviction about what had been told to him. Okay? So he's heard about the Indies from multiple accounts. Then he says, hey, let me go holler at this nigga the friar and chop it up and see what he says. And he says, hey, after he left with the friar, he said, you know what? This goddamn place, the Indies, is for real. Okay? Not India. He's consulting multiple people. Okay? Quit playing with it. So let's keep going, though. In the monastery, there he strengthened his conviction about what, I hate when I do that. Strengthened his conviction about what had been told to him and what was written regarding the pilot who had been unalived in his home. The one that was the first one who discovered the Indies, supposedly. Okay? It says, it seems to me that Christopher Columbus, long before he came to Spain, had already thought of where the Indies was located, okay? Before he ever even came to some damn Spain to get the money to even go there, he knew where it was. Where did the narrative come from that he got lost going to India, like he was gonna go this way and sail through the earth and miss America and just hit India, which doesn't make sense. Let's just show you why this doesn't make sense. Because they knew Asia existed. Okay? They knew Asia existed. Let's just do this. What they want you to believe is he was trying to get to here, right? Now, never mind, there's all this land on the other side of it that they know about, okay? They knew about Asia, and they'll say it in this book, right? All these other land masses and shit that's in the way, never mind that. They want you to believe, he said, hey, I'm trying to go from Nya and sell my ass over somehow missing all the Americas, missing Thailand, China, and getting over here to India. And you know what? He thought that the shit would be easier than tracking it through here to the Red Sea, going through, or the Black Sea, whatever, going through a little river, and then putting it on down. I guess it's a little harder. And maybe they trying to say he was looking for a shorter route and they didn't know. But that's the kind of asinine shit they trying to push to you in all the schools everywhere you go, okay? Asinine. When the books from the earliest of time clearly show that this nigga was asking about the Indies, knew about the Indies, studied cartography, navigation, all this other stuff. Then the nigga got lost? He did. You put all that work in and all this other shit, nigga, and then the nigga got lost. Okay. Going to India. Okay, so let's keep going. Okay, so he knew it well before he went to Spain. He knew exactly where the hell it was, and I'm gonna chop it up with some of my TikTok folks here in a second. It says, and that he long sought after the writings of Seneca, which speak of ships crossing the ocean. Crossing the ocean in search of something to discover. Finally, fortune brought him to the Spanish pilot who by chance of the sea had found them. Okay? So here we have, make sure what this is. He departed. Okay, yeah. So here we have multiple testimonies or multiple accounts, I should say, of Christopher Columbus being able to find the Indies. So let's just completely put to rest, which is not going to be put to rest because not everybody's going to watch this, right? So y'all going to have to use this motherfucking information to debunk them niggas out there. But let's just put it to rest that this nigga was not lost. He knew exactly where the fuck he was going. He said, "Hey Samuel, it was said that supposedly the Ottoman Empire were pirates and has them blocked. Just something I looked into." Said it was supposedly that the Ottoman Empire were pirates and had them blocked. I'm not sure what you mean by had what blocked though, Woken. You have to clarify that. I'm not sure. I hadn't looked into too much of the Ottoman Empire. Let me just double check to make sure there ain't no trolls present real quick. What's up, Empress Enchanted? How you doing? Daughter of them all, Lola. Now I'm trying to remember your name because you got. I'm thinking of your last name and the other screen name. I got to think of the name now. But what's up, Lola? What's up, A? Oh, he said peace, fan. What's up? What's up, A Dub? I think I said what's up to you already. And yeah, okay. So let's move forward. So we've established completely that he wasn't lost, okay? And after that, it starts talking about in this book, he started looking for ways to get there because he didn't have the finances. So the book talks about he didn't have the finances. In the page prior to the one I just showed you, talks about him being in cartography, learning navigational skills. Then it says, nigga was looking for the Indies. Now we're talking about in this one, which I'm not going to read. Y'all can screenshot and read it if you like. Let me make it to where you can see the whole thing. Screenshot and read it if you like. But basically, it's going to talk about how he went from monarch to monarch, place to place, looking for the funds and a way to get this going. Let's keep going. But as soon as England, and so again, for those who just coming in, we're translating this from pages. And as you can see in here, you see that word right there, Cologne. That's Christopher Cologne. Cristobal Colon. Okay, you can see these words within the Spanish documents. Alonso, right here, there's Alonso de Quintanilla, and you'll see that over here in the translation. And now this page is. Let's see. With response, Christopher Columbus lifted his spirit. He was esteemed. This is where he's promising that he's going to bring back what he's going to bring back. So I ain't going to read through this. But basically, he was looking for financing or a way to get to the Indies. Okay, and he ain't had the money. So here he's promising, look, I'm going to bring you back gold, silver, pearls, gems, spices, and other rich things. Now, first of all, how the fuck does he know it's over there? How does he know there's gold over there? Silver, pearls, gems, spices. Because there is. Okay? Because he consulted with writings. And I wish I could figure out what ancient writings he went and consulted. I tried to ask ChatGPT and it really didn't give me no help. And people be really hanging their hat on these ChatGPTs. Now it can do a little something. And don't get me wrong, I've seen people come up with some cool answers. But it ain't read this book. Even when I try to say, this same ChatGPT, I try to tell it, I asked it after translating the book, did Christopher Columbus discover call it the Indies because he got lost? It told me he did. Okay? And then I said, wait a minute, you just translated a book for me that told me he literally knew where he was going. And it was like, well, all things, were blah. I don't know. I forgot what the fuck it said. Eventually, after a couple of questionings, it said, I see what you mean. Yes, you're right. Blah, blah, blah. Bitch. Okay? You just did it. Okay? You couldn't consult what you just translated. I got to not questionize, that ain't the word, but I got to question it to a point to where you can, whatever. It's AI. Okay? But okay. He is telling them that he's going to bring back these things. How do you know that they even exist? Because he knew where he was trying to go. That's why I wanted to keep this page. He knew where the fuck he was trying to go. Okay? So let's keep going. Let's see. Spaniards might continue to fight infidelity. I don't think that's really. The other was conquest of the. I'm going to read this. It says greater than, so my TikTok folks can see, greater than 16,000 ducats. That's some money stuff they're talking about. It says two things we shall note here. One, that with so little capital, the revenues of the royal crown of Castile was so greatly increased by what the Indies yielded. The other, that as the conquest of the Moors, which had lasted more than 800 years, came to an end, the conquest of the Indies began. So notice it talks about the conquest of the Moors, okay? So for those people who don't know, for 800 years, it says they were fighting the Moors, the black folks over there in Europe, so-called black looker shit folks, right? They'll try to lie and say they Arab looking folks, don't, you know, then people's crazy. AI is known to hallucinate 70% or more of the time. What's up, Midwest girl? ChatGPT turned into a Karen, right? A straight up ass Karen. Okay, so let's go to another page. We're translating old Paleo Spanish documents, as y'all can see, right? And it says, let's see. I had favorited some of them. Let me see. This one I favorited? Okay, I did. Let's see. Okay, yes. So now I kind of skipped over some of it because he goes to the island, talks about Christopher Columbus going to the island or whatever. And this is for his first voyage. This is going to be talking about him coming back from that voyage, okay? So the voyage was kind of basic. Yeah, he saw the Indians, you know, described them. This is going to talk about what he took from those Indians, okay? And it says, well, actually, this kind of talks about when he was there. So we'll go through it. It says, and he so built a small fort of stone and wood, and with the will of the cacique and with the help of the vassals. So with the will of the, hold up. Do it like this so you can see it. With the will of the cacique and with the help of the vassals. What is a cacique? For those who don't know, what is a cacique? A cacique is an Indian chief. Okay? So with the help of the Indian chief, he was able to build a house in stone or whatever of one of those islands that he landed on. And it says, in that he left 38 Spaniards with Captain Rodrigo de Araña, a native of Cordoba, to learn the language and the secrets of the land of the people he went and returned. Well, he went and returned. So this is him. Christopher Columbus went, set up a little shop, left some of his folks there, and he's going back to Spain from his first voyage. It says this was the first house or settlement that the Spaniards built in the Indies. Now, one thing I want to know, let's see if I can find it real quick. Columbus. I'm looking for, it said, the amount of ships he had went out with. I may have to look for that. I wasn't really looking to throw that in there, but it talks about, somewhere in this book, it talks about the amount of ships that went out. There were a total of 700 ships that I think he said could carry 1,500 people. And sounds like a lot. 1,500 people is a lot of people, right? Hold on. So when you do the math, if I'm right, from yesterday divided by 17 ships, yes, when you do the math, it comes up to about 88 people per ship, okay? Boat. Let me not say ship. So 88 people on average per boat. Now you got an idea of the scale. That's packing them in for a long voyage, okay? So when you see ships that say they had 300-400 people, you got to start asking when the hell they got them ships and where the hell they got them ships. Because these voyagers was rolling about 80 deep, okay? So let's go back to where I was really at. and having sailed. Okay, so again, he's leaving the Indies and left some of the Spaniards there, right? It says he took with him 10 Indians. So here we have the first account, one of the first accounts of Indians being taken from the Americas to the European area. Okay, now nowhere in this book up until this point did it say they brought Africans out of those 88 people, those 1,500 people. Now it said Spaniards. Now I might look back further and find out it's a mixture of different people. Could be some Moors. Well, some of them are Moors, black folks, because Alonzo because I skipped a lot. It talks about Alonzo Pinzon, whatever, and a few of the Pinzon brothers, and you can look them up. The Pinzon brothers, I can look them up for you. That's what my live stream's about. The Pinzon brothers. Now they'll show them looking like this, of course, right? Of course they're gonna show people that look like this as the Pinzon brothers. But you have to really go look. Let's see, I think it was Alonzo Pinzon. I'm gonna even put the word black in front of it. There's paintings of Alonzo, a black Alonzo somewhere. I gotta find those. I should have. It wasn't on my list of today to go over, but y'all know they be whitewashing history. But otherwise, I would have had that receipt. But the Pinzon brothers were there with him. So some black folks, in a sense, some black Spaniards, black liquorship, did come over with him. But they didn't say nothing about African slaves. They didn't say nothing about slaves or anything in the book. So we look at this. It said 10 Indians were taken. Let me go back here. 10 Indians were taken, okay? 40 parrots, okay? Many hutias, a kind of rabbit, yams, which they call batatas or sweet potatoes. Now you got to think about that, first of all, before we continue. People say yams, sweet potatoes, whatever, come from Africa, or they said that they come from Africa, and then when we said that they are indigenous here, they say, well, the reason why you call them yams, because you all really have sweet potatoes and you call them yams because of the word in Africa, and the Africa word came here, and it just doesn't make sense, because then they start to argue that their so-called yams are not the same yams as our sweet potatoes, because theirs are a white color and ours are orange. So then you start to think, well, why the fuck would an African slave come over here and call an orange fucking potato a fucking yam if it ain't the same look as a fucking yam over there? All the lies don't make sense, okay? And I can't stand the lies more so than anything, because they trying to play you like you fucking stupid. They come up with a simplistic ass excuse of why whatever is whatever, and they just hope you don't go looking a little bit further. Because as long as you don't go looking and just go off of what the fuck they said, which that's how a lot of live stream panels be, then it is what it is. You know, you're going to accept whatever the fuck they dumbass said. But anyway, it says he also brought over some cotton. He also brought over some cotton. Who were the people known for cotton? Cotton gins, whatever, right? But anyway, and other strange things different from those of Spain, as testimony of what had been discovered, as well as much gold which he had gathered, carried back in the caverns. Okay? And it says, and having said farewell to 38 companions who stayed there in place of the Guanahani, he set out with his 2 caravels, and so February winds, he went back to Spain. So he went back to Spain with some of our folks, 10 of our folks, some sweet potatoes, okay? Now, if the yams over there in Africa were already good and sweet and amazing, why the fuck would he feel like he need to take some sweet potatoes over there? Out of all the things he could have took, right? He's taking gold, nigga taking goddamn parrots, goddamn all this other shit, whatever. And the nigga said, you know what? Let me get some of the sweet potatoes. Yeah, that sweet potato pie. Yeah, them niggas need to know about it. They need to know about it out there, okay? They need to taste this, okay? A little cinnamon, a little ginger. We got a little bit back. We got that back in Spain, I guess. But bring them sweet potatoes, nigga. Okay. Anyway, that's just a crazy thing to bring to prove you was in the Americas. You know what I'm saying? I say crazy, but it must have been a staple. It must have been a really surprising thing that he's like, damn, these niggas got sweet potatoes like a motherfucker, right? So anyway, as we can see, he carried some of us back. So let's talk a little bit further about that situation. It says the honorary awards of the Catholic monarchs gave to Columbus for having to discover the Indies. The Catholic monarchs were in Barcelona when Christopher Columbus disembarked at Palos and traveled there. Even though the road was long and despite the burden of what he had carried, was greatly honored and celebrated. So much so that the people came along the roads to see him because of the fame he had of having discovered another world, even though he didn't. Because it talks about it in this book that they knew it was already existing. Not only the thing that I showed you, I might try to go back and show you another thing that it talked about. But we'll keep going, stay on task. It says, having discovered another world and bringing back such great wealth and people of new color and experience. He brought back great wealth and people, the 10 people, of a new color and experience. Okay? Now there's Moors over there, granted, right? But Africans, European Moors, they don't really look like us. A lot of the statues that I see and paintings of a darker hue than what I am and what many of us are. Now some of us are darker too. Don't get me wrong, we have multiple shades too, but we have an array of shades. A lot of them over there tend to, I don't know, but let's keep looking, okay? It says some said that he found what he had found and been spoken of in ancient times about the voyage that the Carthaginians had made. Others recall what Plato had written in the time of Tinius, and about the island that was lost in a storm and much more. Now he talked about these people of new great appearance. Let me see if it's on this page. I think it's on this page where they describe that appearance. It is. It actually is. So we're going to get into what is this appearance, you know. It says that had grown in the sea. It's continuing from another page. It says, and others said that what Seneca predicted in the tragedy of Medea had been fulfilled, where he says that times would come when new worlds would be discovered, and these worlds would not be the last lands. That's one thing I thought that was kind of crazy. He said there's going to be a time when new worlds are going to be discovered, and they won't be the last lands. Are there lands beyond that Antarctic wall or something they're talking about? I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there. But I ain't looked too much into that, so I ain't going to talk too much about that. But it says finally, damn it. Finally, he entered into the court with much desire, with the present and in the presence of all. And on the 3rd of April, he came after he had departed from it. He presented to the kings the gold and things he had brought from the other world, and they and many others were present, marveling greatly to see that all that except the gold was new, like the land where it was born. He praised the parrots for being of very beautiful colors. Some were very green, others very red, others yellow, and 30 different shades of various colors, and few of them resembled those brought from other places. It said the Hutias, rabbits, were small, with tails like rats, and the color gray. They tried the axi, the spice of the Indians, which burns the tongue, and the sweet potato, which are sweet roots. Okay? So there's no question what the hell they talking about when he said he brought back some yams or batatas. They say that they are sweet potatoes, sweet roots. Okay? It goes back, it says, and the turkeys, which are better than the peacocks and the chickens. And turkey does taste a little bit better than those. I do like turkey. They were amazed, but chicken fried, it's pretty damn good. They were amazed that no wheat was brought, but they contented themselves. But they contented themselves. Trying to highlight it. Come on now, fuck it with me. But they contented themselves with what was in that land. What most astonished them were the adornments, which were the rings of gold in the ears and the nostrils, and they were neither white nor black nor tiny, but reddish like cooked medlars. So what are they doing? They're describing the people. Let me see if this has the other part. No, that's on the next page, which we'll get to. But they describe the people to be of a reddish tone and look like cooked medlars. They say they're not black, not white, nor tawny. Now, we've heard these same descriptions, but people would be like, yeah, it says ha, ha, ha. It says not black nor white, blah, blah, blah. Nigga, I'm not black nor white. Okay? Are you a fucking moron? Okay? But what is the color of cooked medlars? These are the color of cooked medlars. Notice the hue. Notice the colors, the hues. You see my shade in there. You see your shades in there. You see our shades in here, right? In some of this. These are cooked medlars. Now, that's the first time your boy has ever heard. I've never even heard of a medlar, to be honest. And I told a couple people about it, and while I was telling them, yeah, they're bronze colored. I was like, nigga, who told you about a medlar? I ain't never heard of a goddamn medlar in my life. Okay? What's up, Nikki? He wooed. I just looked over here and seen you over there, the same color as you. What's up, interest? Yeah, right? What's up, Nikki? Amore Brown. Oh, you already knew. Love when my people know the truth. Appreciate that, Amore. Let me make sure ain't no trolls up in here. Peace. What's up, Gravy and Toast? He said, rabbits, Woken Gator. They need to make up their minds, either the Africans that were shipped here lost culture or not. I know, right? They ain't gonna make up they gonna stick with their damn lies. All right, I don't see no trolls. We good. 25 of y'all in here. Appreciate y'all being in here. I tried to cover this up so y'all can see y'all's messages pretty good. Okay, so cooked medlars. So we've been likened to looking like cinnamon, cooked medlars, copper, olive. Then you got the tiny swarthies, right? Your normal browns. How many other descriptions do niggas need to say for people to be like, oh, they're talking about you guys? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, bitch. What the fuck you think they been talking about? Hold on. Let me. Oh, I can't do it over here. Hold on. Let me. You think they talking about? Hold up. These mofos? You think they talking about these? That's not cooked medlars, okay? Only when they try to manipulate the lighting, they look like cooked medlars. Or when they draw themselves the color of cooked medlars. If these niggas don't, people be annoying me, man. My goodness. look, man, I'll just say a little whatever. I got podcast studios, right? I got clients. They go to my podcast studio. Got 2 locations, okay? Both commercial locations. So don't text me as a customer near 10 o'clock at night with request. Like we open or some shit. Anyway, let me get back to this, okay? Anyways, okay. So yeah, they don't look like no cooked meddlers, okay? Quit playing with me. Now, they'll try to draw themselves like that, right? But then when you look at them, they look like this. Now, this is all kind of a Siberian mixed with a damn Spaniard, dude. Like, get the fuck out of here. These people are fucking off the chain. Like, you would not find the cooked meddlers on these people, okay? The fuck out of here, okay? None of these people are cooked meddlers, okay? Surprisingly, you only see the cooked meddlers look when they want to draw themselves, okay? If y'all don't start using the right color crayon, I'm going to beat somebody's motherfucking ass, okay? Obviously, y'all blind in this bitch, because that's not your color. That's not you. Quit playing, okay? Quit playing. Okay, let's get back to the main thing. So we have, and you can get your screenshot on, you have another reference here from 1551, translated from a Paleo-Spanish book in the Library of Congress. Long ass thing. No, I didn't have to breathe that hard, but still. That's telling you not only that Christopher Columbus knew about the Indies before the nigga went, but he brought some Indians back with him during his first voyage. And they said that these was some cooked meddler looking ass motherfuckers, right? Okay, so let's go to something else. We're translating pages, right? Make sure color and feature. Some related Indies saying Indies, but it's saying color and feature Indies rather than Indies. Oh, okay. This is, it says it right there in my face, why they call it the Indies. Let's see what they say why they call it the Indies. Okay? So we already established that they didn't call it the Indies because Christopher Columbus got lost. He knew where he was going, what he was looking for, and he found it. Okay? He even knew what was there and promised to give them niggas some of what he was going to find, and he brought some of that shit back. Okay? So we know and have established that. So why did they call it the Indies? Okay, it says, before we go further, I want to give my opinion, okay? Let that sink in again, too. 1551, still wasn't sure why it was called the Indies, okay? Still wasn't really sure. But about this name, the Indies, some have believed, some believed, still not sure about this whole term, the Indies. Now, we know that the word Indian was used, some of us know that the word Indian was used in certain Indian or, American Indian languages, as Darvid talks about. But let's keep going. Some have believed that they were called thus because the men of these are Indies have the same color as the Eastern Indies. Now notice he said are Indies. They already claiming it like some Spaniards. But he says that they say that some people say that these people resemble the same, right? It says, but it seems to me that they differed greatly in color and in features. Quit playing with us, okay? In other words, quit playing. These niggas don't look the same, and these niggas don't have the same color. So there's no way Christopher Columbus, I'm saying it with the megaphone on my face, there's no way Christopher goddamn Columbus mistake these people for East Indians, and every other navigator as well said, these niggas look like the niggas from India, because they differed greatly in appearance, even in 1551. Quit playing with me, okay? Now let's keep going. And as this nigga said, that it was those other, he still hasn't even given his opinion yet on why it's called the Indies. He's already done debunked the bullshit. Okay? But okay, let's keep going. But it seemed they differ greatly from appearance of creatures. It is true, however, that from India they derived the name Indies. Properly speaking, India is called. Okay? Now it says on the next page why, I believe. Let me see, I got that. From India, President John. They talked about some province in Asia, whatever, Ethiopia. I'm not going to read through that. If you want to, you screenshot it, read through that. But this bottom part, the second paragraph, it says from India, I believe this talks about it, from India and from Prester John, from where the Portuguese traded, came the name given to our Indies. It says because the caballeros came and went from there, over the time the name was transferred to these lands. And when the pilot saw those new lands, he called them the Indies. And so Columbus' discoveries were always called the Indies. Those who regarded Columbus as a great cosmographer believed that the name from the Indies after the East Indies, thinking that when he discovered those lands, he was seeking the lands of Cipango, Japan, which lies near China or Cathay, and that he ventured west, following the sun to reach further. Although many believe that there was such an island, in any case, this is the origin of why they call it the Indies. So they're saying that the Indies, I guess I got to read the top part, but basically they're saying Prester John and them are some of the people, I guess, that and ships would go. But they said that basically when pilots, it kind of became like a thing for pilots to call new lands the Indies. So technically they're trying to say, this is his opinion now, okay, that it was given that name because as ships went back and forth through there and found different new lands, they would say, hey, these are the Indies. That still sounds kind of convoluted, kind of off. Like, really? And even if I read the top part, because that's where it talks about Prester John, let me just read it and see if it makes a little bit of sense, but I don't think it did. Let's say, it says, the great province of Asia, where Alexander the Great waged war, which takes its name from the river Indus, and which is divided into many kingdoms. Hold on, let me do my little TikTok puzzle piece shit. Okay. Making sure I'm straight. Kingdoms, neighboring, whatever, from the great India, which is also called the East. Large groups of men departed, and as Herodotus recounts, went to settle in Ethiopia, which lies between the Red Sea and the Nile, and which today is possessed by Prester John. They prevailed so strongly there that the land changed its ancient customs and took on the name they brought with them, and thus Ethiopia was called India. Now, I didn't know that. Ethiopia was called India. For this reason, many, included Aristotle and Seneca, said that India was near Spain. So it's kind of all over the place. These niggas was calling all kind of random things so-called India. But I believe, okay, from what I've seen, not from what these niggas seen, I'm believing that they got the name. They already knew it was the name existed over there. As you can see, he was studying, looking for the shit. If you studying, looking for the lands, you knew about the lands, all this other stuff. Hold on, let me plug my damn computer in. Do I have enough power there? I do. Hold on 1 second. So he already knew it existed. He already knew people had been there. The Carthaginians had been there, apparently. Some other pilot had been there. And he went and consulted with ancient writings. He talked to friars. Do we not think that he heard the goddamn name? Okay? And this also doesn't talk about it, but then there's something called the Council of the Indies that gets formulated after a while. Then you got to start thinking, why is there a Council of the Indies? It's a whole, and the purpose of the Council of the Indies, which I could pull up a receipt on that, but the purpose of the Council of the Indies was to be censors, to censor anything coming from America, all the writings, all the stuff. That the same kind of writings that Christopher Columbus was likely consulting, okay, and looking at when he was trying to learn about America. Then they start to censor all that shit. But let's keep going, because this story still gets even more interesting. There's so many nuggets debunking so many things in this book that I really was all over the place, feeling great about it when I found it. Let's see what this one is. Also many craftsmen, siege plans, bricks. So this is him embarking back to their Caribs, man-eaters, beautiful Indians, certain Caribs. He also I'm looking for a particular thing. Now, they talking about him being in Cuba, Jamaica, bringing back some other Indians and stuff. Where are you at? Me harvested. He brought. Okay, here we go. So this was another important receipt about Christopher Columbus, one of his other voyages. Let's see. Bring it down here so y'all can see it. It says, Christopher Columbus arrived at Medina del Campo, where the court resided. He brought, he brought to the monarchs, that's how you know he's back in Spain. He brought to the monarchs, the king and queen, right? Many grains of gold, some nuggets weighing up to 20 ounces. Those some big nuggets. Large pieces of amber, infinite amounts of Brazil wood, mother of pearls. He also brought feathers and cotton mantles, which the Indians wore. Now we're going to get to something. We're going to move, cut towards some receipts on this. Because at first when I saw this, I could have just let it go. But I didn't know. I was like, hold up. I was like, what the hell are cotton mantles? Never heard of them. I could have just breezed past that. It's like, oh, they wear cotton mantles, right? But no, your boy had to go look a little deeper. What is a cotton mantle? Some of y'all may know. These are cotton mantles. Hoodies with a cape. Hoodies with a cape. They call them cloaks, but cotton mantle clothing, right? Cape-like things with possible hoods on them. Now, why is this important? Well, let's look back at this. Columbus brought in gold. That's one thing. Mother of pearls. That's two things. Feathers. Three things. Cotton mantles, which the Indians wore. Four things. But also something else I was going to say. But regardless of that, let's take a trip. Make sure I don't lose my spot. Is that one down there? Okay, that was one of the last ones. Okay. Let's take a look. We're going to go to the allegory of the continents. Now, first of all, for those who haven't seen it, I want to show you it on the actual real website, and then we'll go to my screenshot so you don't think that I'm bullshitting you. So we'll go to, where is it at? Is this it? No. Here it is. Here it is. Accept the terms that you can't read. And we are here. We're going to go to the Index Allegorian. We are here. Now, when you go to, let's go to one that I know of. One of these paintings, there are hundreds of paintings in here, likely. Let me 1 second. Okay. So, there's hundreds of paintings in here. They're preserved in churches in Germany. Okay? But why is that important? Well, when you click on one, you will see 4 people. One representing each continent. Which person is representing the American continent? Well, in today's time, a German has helped us out to show us. There's your American right there. Can you not tell? Can you not see? But how do we know this is also real? Well, we just looked at Christopher Columbus saying he brought back for my people 4 things. Gold, feathers, mother of pearls or pearls, and cotton mantles. When you look at this, he has pearls on his arms. TikTok world can see me pointing at this, but YouTube world, you can't see me pointing at it. So you're going to have to look. Look at his arms, and look at his face and his fucking neck. He has pearls. Mother of pearls can be made into pearl beads. They also can be pearl pendants, pearl earrings. He has a cotton mantle. I did not know that's what that was. I kept calling it some kind of toga, some kind of cloth, some kind of something. I was not sure. I am sure now. Let me make my name bigger. Why is my name so small? Big up me. Anyways, cotton mantles and gold. Now, he doesn't show to be wearing any gold, but he has blue and gold feathers. Oh, I take that back. I take that back. Let me get this off the screen. There on his arm is a gold amulet, armlet or whatever, with pearls around that bitch. That's 4 things Christopher Columbus brought back with him. Okay, we can look at my we're gonna look at my quick, so I don't have to pull up each one. I can pull them up quickly. Let's look at some more. Look at her. Pearls, cotton mantles, gold armlet, feathers on a fucking head. 4 things Columbus brought back. Let's look at another one. Now that we know what these are, cotton mantles. Let me move it down a little bit more. Cotton mantles, pearls in his ears, feathers on his fucking head, right? Same thing with him. Cotton mantles with like a feather overcoat looking thing. Gold earrings. Hoop earring. Let me move it down so people can see. A gold hoop earring. Now, were these people painting this shit by mistake, or did they know what they was painting? Okay? These ain't the only ones. Let's keep going. Cotton blue mantle on her. As you can see, it wrapped around her arm. She has a cotton mantle, which the Indians wore. Okay? You won't see a cotton mantle on a Native American. Okay? And if they do have it, it's gonna have all them dumbass triangles and weird looking shit designed on it. Some Siberian ass shit. Okay? But you will not see it on them. She's got the gold amulets with the gold thing with the amulets or gems inside, a gold choker with goddamn pearls, feathers, gold armlet, stunting on them bitches. Okay? All of these are like damn near like that, unless they decided not to wear, unless they're like this, where some of them didn't wear a mantle, but they still had the feathers, the gold, and the pearls. Okay? You're going to get 3 out of 4 every time. Every damn time. Damn near every time. Cotton mantle. It's kind of hard on this one to see. Right here is another one. Cotton mantle, a blue cotton mantle, pearls around her neck, pearls in her ears, feather popped up, feather in the bow and arrows. She's a freaking black person with curly hair. Drawn, painted in the 1700s, late 1700s, when niggas are supposed to be nothing but chained up slaves coming over on boat in America. And Christopher Columbus's account shows he brought this shit back too. Okay? And there's that one too. Here's a guy, he don't have the mantle on, but he has his feathers. He has, he don't have the pearls on. Every once in a while. I said 3 out of 4 every time. I think he has a gold armlet on. Not every single time, but damn near most of the times. And I got many others up here. The allegory of the continents is so vast, like this one right here. Cotton mantle. Now that I know what it is, I will never forget. Pearls, pearls, pearls. Right? Feathers. No gold, but gold colors. Parrot. Just thought about that. Parrot. Okay? What did Christopher Columbus bring back? 40 parrots of all types of shades. Okay? Quit playing with us. Quit playing with us. And people would tell you, oh, this allegory of the continent stuff is fake. They didn't actually have an eyewitness account to view. Shut your stupid ass the fuck up. Okay, this is the American. Cotton mantle, feathers, pearls, gold. Okay? Quit playing with me. Okay? So yeah. I had to drive that all the way motherfucking home. Okay? Because that was somewhat the end of that particular section of what I wanted to talk about. Now, damn. It's kind of late. I'm nigga starving. And I put down here the Dunn surname. I do want to go over the Dunn surname, but I don't because it should take an hour and a half to go over the Dunn surname. What do I mean by that? To give y'all a preview, just in case I don't do it tonight. The Dunn surname. Now, we got people like O.J. Dunn, the Lieutenant Governor of Louisiana, looking very melanated, right? Yeah, I'm not going to do this tonight. I ain't going to do it tonight because I ain't even going to lie to you. I ain't ate nothing, okay? I haven't ate in a while. I said I ain't ate nothing. I'm country as fuck. I haven't had nothing to eat and anything to eat and since earlier today, way earlier. So, and it's 10 o'clock my time. And if I go into this done shit, because I got receipts upon receipts. All of these are done receipts. And then I'm sure I'll be referencing websites and things of that nature. And it's going to take a minute. So I don't want to get into the done conversation tonight. Hey, Solar Gents, how you doing? Amore, how you? She said, what book is this in the Congress? I will show you. It is. And yeah, and you know the Dunn surname does kind of deserve its own. It deserves its own live stream, its own thing. So this, you have to screenshot it right there, but that's the name of the book. So I use ChatGPT, as you've seen, to I take a screenshot for y'all that want to do this. You got to screenshot every page by page, and even on this, it's even worse because when I screenshot the whole page, just to show you, as you can see, it's in two columns like the Bible. And when I hold on one second. Okay. And when I screenshot, y'all probably still heard that. Whatever. But when I screenshot, I like YouTube didn't hear it, but TikTok probably heard it. When I screenshot the whole page, ChatGPT doesn't really do the whole thing. It's like it gets confused. Also, it gets confused with these little breaks in the page. You see where it breaks between here and there? So what I've had to do is literally screenshot just this section, this top section, screenshot that section, and then screenshot this long section. Any little breaks, I don't screenshot. I have to re-screenshot, and I have to translate each one. I'll show you. I'll translate each one by one inside of my ChatGPT. You see it over there on the right-hand side, and see even like that little part, because it didn't tell me what that little part said, and I didn't want to miss anything. The imprisonment of Christopher Columbus. Look at that. Some of y'all don't know that nigga got put in jail. On his third voyage, a bunch of bullshit was going on. They said some shit. He was hiding shit from the king and queen or whatever. They done sent some nigga over there to arrest him and bring him back. And in my head, I'm like, you get arrested you that far away and you done still got arrested? Nigga, I would have left. Okay? Y'all on some lands, they don't even know where the fuck to find you. You know, whatever. But nigga got arrested, went back over there to Spain, but they didn't keep him that long or whatever. But then they let him go back for a fourth voyage. They just said he couldn't be the governor no more, but he still got to keep his little business shit going. But yeah. Anyway, so this is how you do it. You know, each little section by section. I go through and I read these things. You know, so I can see what I can find. And I'm telling you, like, one of the first things, let me see if I can find it. I said I was going to show that to y'all. One of the first things I found was, like, hella interesting. And I was like, damn, this book is already blowing some shit out the water. Let's see if I can give y'all something good. Oh, yeah, this is a good one. So, why do they call it the third world? Now, if you were to go with your conventional thinking, you call any place that's broke as fuck the third world. every place that's a fucking shithole, it's the third world today. But that wasn't why things were called the third world back in the day. I did not know that. I had no clue. Let's take a little read and see what they say the reason is for what was called the third part of the world. It says the ancients thought that our world is in Asia and Europe. Now, whatever ancients they talking about. And on top of that, notice they didn't say Africa. Okay? And through the Tanais River, as Socrates and others write in this manner, they divided Asia and Africa by the streams of the Nile. But notice they didn't say Africa earlier, that our world is in Africa. It says, and they made it an island because the land fell away there and was washed by the ocean down to the Mediterranean. But the one they call Beroso says that Noah gave the names Africa, Asia, and Europe, and he divided them amongst his sons, Cham, Shem, Sam, and Japheth. Now, the first thing it wasn't the first thing I thought. It took a couple of days before I thought about this. I realized that those are 3 tribes of Israel, right? 3 sons of Noah. They say that there were 13 tribes. Some say 12, some say 13. Well, 3 people or 3 tribes were given those 3 lands. Where's the other 10, right? That's why you got books. Excuse me. You got books. I don't want to lose my spot, so I have to do this. Called the 10 Tribes of Israel Indians. Let me put archive. That's why you have books like this saying that the 10 tribes of Israel are historically identified with the Aborigines of the Western Hemisphere, or a book like this called The 10 Tribes of Israel, the true history of the North American Indians, showing that they are the descendants of the 10 tribes. Ain't that funny? When you sit here and look, the other 3 tribes are over there. The other 10 back in the Americas with books referencing them multiple. Even this book referenced them as being the Jews. I can even pull that up. This same book, okay? But let's keep going. So we know that Noah called Asia, Africa, and Europe and called those landmasses those names and gave them to Shem, Sem, and Japheth. And it says, and from this they took division into 3 parts. And without a doubt, it is true that they subdivided it into 3 parts, calling it the 3rd part of the world. The 3rd part of the world. Okay, let me go to the 3rd part so you can see that part. The 3rd part. All right. So you got to start thinking once you see some shit like this. You know, one, you can just go with it. Okay, cool. 3rd part of the world. That's what they called it. It was like that before. But you have to think, why did they change that shit? Why would you change the 3rd world to mean an economic state versus it meaning the 3 continents which were given to the 3 sons of Noah? Well, my idea, opinion, because they don't want you to know about the whole 13 tribes of Israel. Subtracting those 3 and leaving 10 and seeing books called the 10 tribes who were lost. You'll start putting 2 and 2 together. Oh, there's 3. That's the 3rd part of the world? Yeah, that's the 3rd part. Because there's 3 of the worlds over there? Yeah, and it was given to 3 sons? Yeah. Where other 10 go? They in America, I think. That's what I think. I can't think of any other good reason why you would no longer want to be known as the 3rd part of the world. The only reason why we have a bad connotation of what the 3rd world is because you lied and put a different idea of what it was in our brain. Had you not lied long ago, we wouldn't think the 3rd part of the world meant anything negative. That's when they say indoctrination. That's when they say, appreciate it, somebody said great lecture. That's when they say indoctrination. That's exactly what they mean by that shit. Because we believe everything, because we had no choice. You have to go look up shit, and it's hard, you know. As I look at myself in this camera, I'm like, man, I look like Cook Medlers. Anyway. My color. But that's the only reason why I can think of why the fuck you tried to erase what the fuck that meant. Because that's the only good reference. That's the only good reasoning for it. So that was the last little wow thing I kind of wanted to show you. I think I had something else in my head from this book. Let me see. Yeah, it was either this book or it was another book. Hold up. I found it. Let me show in photos. I hate when it does that. Because where the fuck is it at? Goodness gracious. I wanted to. This may not be the same book, but I also had translated another Paleo Spanish book prior to that book, and as you can see, they was talking about the Indians. Where can I show you that so you know what I'm talking about? Cain and Abel, that God pronounced a merciless brother. One might even doubt whether they are not originally Jews, right? Because they resemble them in several things. They build their huts in the form of pavilions, like the Jew, right? They anoint themselves with oil. They are superstitiously attached to dreams. They weep for the dead with lamentations and horrible howls. The women wear mourning for their close relatives for a whole year, abstaining from dances and feasts and wearing blah, 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 as upon the year, right? And for abstain, blah, blah, blah. But you kind of got to know this was about, I'm not trying to find it. I wish I could find the damn spot. But either way, I think that was the book that I read prior to this current book. But there's many, many, many books. I can just the fact that I got this. Look, Juan de Gravajalia. This is the historical accounts of Louisiana. Historical accounts of Louisiana. Even they was talking about in regards to the Jew and the cat. Well, hold on, maybe not that particular passage. Jews, another claim. Hold on, like kind of like right here. Okay, like the voyage of Juan de Gravajalia to Mexico. He's in Mexico, and he says that the inhabitants of these countries were the descendants of the right, who Vespasian, Titus and Vespasian had driven from Jerusalem, right. So that's another reference. You got references like this. Torquemada, who does not allow for that the Mexicans borrowed any of their analogous customs from the Jews, right? Up here you got history of the Indies from Gomara, that the Spaniards were struck with the resemblance of some of the tribes of India into the Jews. They are very much like the Jews, right? In appearance and their voice, okay? This is when I say I've read this in too many different books, the 10 tribes of Israel, right? The prosperity of the Jews in early ages, Jews, whatever, right? I've read it in too many books at this point that I cannot deny what the hell I'm reading. You know what I'm saying? Why? Too many people are talking about it. I've seen it in something else. I was trying to find a particular page. Or maybe if I take off the S, or maybe I need to do, but there was several different documents. Like this one, Gumila talks about in his particular voyage, observed many Hebrew ceremonies, right? Shogun, and they was telling him not to write anything about these people being Hebrews, right? And Shogun was like a voyager to a degree. He wasn't like the captain of a pilot ship, but many different things, okay? Many different things, which reference that particular fact. So, I mean, at this particular point, I can't deny it. If anything, I'm just trying to understand further the spiritual and real world meanings behind it. Like, why are we the chosen people? Why is everybody hating on the real yous, right? Why are these things happening to us? What is a you? What, I know son of Noah, sons of Noah, whatever, but like I really want to go deeper. I really want to look a lot more into that. What are all the practices we need to really be doing? What are the real names of gods? Which I got videos on that. It should be really just the same like Jehovah, Yod Heva, Yehovah, or whatever. So I mean, there's things that I do know, but there's still things I feel like I don't know. So I'll definitely be doing a lot more studying up on these things and bringing that information to y'all as I find it. And like always, man, I appreciate y'all coming through for the live stream. I done threw some new things that hopefully you all have never seen before at you. And hopefully you can take those things. Y'all got some screenshots and y'all can go out there and hit niggas with super facts when they want to talk they shit. Just hit them with more and more and more super facts on that ass. And things will be what they be. Let me see if anybody's even watching my damn YouTube, man. YouTube be bullshit me. YouTube don't like a nigga to be great. Hold on. Hell no, ain't nobody watching this. But I do it for the long content. Cause like, for me, I'm really a good video editor. Like, I can shoot these videos and I can put all these things, but it takes time. Typically, I don't have the time, or I don't want to spend the time to do all that fucking editing. So really, I like to do these long form live streams where I can pull up the shit as I talk, and everything's good to go. I don't have to do no editing. Everything's already done. I'm just talking and presenting. But I could do a whole lot more of a, professional looking podcast looking thing, man. But I like it this way too, because with this way I get to interact with people when they come through. So everybody also gets the information in real time, and also people get the information later when they watch the live stream, the full long form. That's the whole time I've been trying to think of that fucking phrase. The long form version of the podcast. So I appreciate y'all coming through. Your boy's about to fry up a little bit of salmon, not fry, pan fry, a little bit of salmon and some salad and shit, and get it in my system before I head off to sleep. Enjoy y'all night. These niggas be playing, and the more facts you got, the more or less they can play with you. That should be my new saying, but I ain't gonna